He's got a chart that shows that he's making $8.5 million because through first he's got 8,500 coach. He has got all of his $7 million earners and give a keyword. What is the key word to your success? Diana Stevens is discipline. And of course, Miguel Illich, crazy man, his is jar. Yeah, he has a jar. And he has to put a piece of paper in the jar, or he's not allowed to sleep in bed. He's got to go sleep out the car or something. What kind of paper? Well, he got to close something. Oh. Got to close something every day. Oh, yeah, I do that. Got to do a certain amount of, or you got to sleep in the car.
He had, those were the minimums. And because he told him, he said, if I do this, will I be able to make a living at it? And he said, oh, yeah. So every day that was his minimum. So he said, yeah, in the very beginning, he'd gone pretty well, but then one day he was like 10 minutes to midnight and he didn't have anybody. And he thought, well, I guess once is not a big deal. And all of a sudden he said something stood up and decided, no. And he went into like a quick trip.
Yeah.
And talked to the guy, asked the guy behind the counter, was he, interested in other options in his career? And the guy said, yeah. And he said, well, when can I sit and show it to you? He said, right now. And so he said over the counter, and said he ran out of the car gun and stuff, and signed the guy on right there,
Naranjo is Spanish for orange. And all of the Naranjo team wear orange shirts all the time. Right. And so they were everywhere.
Hoffman means houseman, so everyone's going to be wearing a house. It looks like they're wearing a house.
Yeah. Here's Naranjo's personal production, what he demands of himself. Guy's making $8.5 million a year, and this is what he demands of himself every day: 4 appointments, every month 3-4 recruits, 1 to 2 licenses, 10 to 20,000 in premium, and 100 to 200,000 in investments. His base shop, he requires 100 recruits a month, 20 licenses, 100,000 in life premium, and 200,000 in investments.
The stock market is still up and down, mainly down. But I started already moving my clients' money back in the market from the floating rate. Equity and income in common stock are making money.
Yeah, I'm stock market really good.
Yeah. And then gold fund, OPG.
Let's say, what about gold?
OPGSX is up like 30% this year. MFS Utility A share, which is not close to annuity, but be close enough, is up 0.61. The reason I like utilities right now is because I think they tie into AI. Probably lower the percentage of money from the MFS utility from 20 to 10, and take the 10 and put it in the BlackRock. Let's look at the BlackRock large cap growth. Made 52% in 2023, 30% in 2024, 13.77% of the money's in NVIDIA. Amazon's got 9.3%, Microsoft nearly 9%, Apple nearly 8%. So it's all tech, and there's not very many funds in there. So it's a good fund.
NOC, Network Operating Center, and you go in there, they have all of these screens that show what's happening on POL throughout the world. It shows.
Do you know how much y'all have saved for retirement? Less than $100,000. They would have stuck with me. They had way more money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and on this money market fund, AIMXX, they're paying a dividend every month.
Yeah.
I never thought that would happen.
Yeah, it always does.
Mm-hmm.
I never noticed that before.
Yeah.
Notice also that you get 12B1s on that.
But you do get half what you normally get paid. 12B1s on money markets.
Yeah. You don't get paid on it.
You don't get paid on it.
But you do.
But I think the yield's somewhere around 4.5 to 4. You see the floating rate yield's up to 9.11%. We can put you in a managed account, but you'd be paying 1% a year. In 4 years, you can be paying more money in fees than
all the money she laws.
My goal is to make you back your money in 6 months. You run hypo, money market versus another mutual.
So I never
show the difference.
Okay.
Which fund were you going to put it in?
On common stock.
Why aren't you using the equity and income? Why don't we run a comparison? So we're going to run a comparison between AIMXX equity and income. Okay, go to buy.
Buy.
$313,000. Okay, go to reports, options. Earliest common, which is what? 1993. Good. Okay. So go to reports, options. Go to holding comparison and rates. Let's see what the difference is. Okay, there's a subtle difference between the performance.
Just teensy.
So can you notice it? It's really close.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You won't pay anything if you invest in here. Good news, 30 years from now, your $313,000 will be worth $500,000. But sad news, and you saved money, but you'd have $4.4 million instead of $500,000. You might pay $9,000 to make an additional $4 million.
Total net return, overall 2.09 as opposed to 8.81.
Wait, go back 10 years. Please do 10 years.
Yes, I do.
But it made 11.81 the year before, 9.9 the year before that. She would have made $50,000 over 10 years in the money market, but she'd have an additional $300,000 put in equity income.
Mm-hmm.
So tell her she's going to lose $9,000 to make $300,000.
I've always put the life insurance proceeds in basics.
Oh, yeah.
Still, you do that?
Yeah, that's what I did. I've done the S&P 500, BADA.
Yes.
I do both. You got $63,000. How much money do you think you're going to need to buy a house with? I said, $15,000, $20,000. So I said, you keep $23,000. We'll invest $40,000. And then I said, no, that's not good. I'll just take $30,000. And so I took 10, put it in AIMXX, 10 in floating rate, 10 in equity and income. And then they're doing $750 a month investment, about $250 a month in each one of those. So, and then once they buy the land or whatever, it clears and they'll put money back into the investment. STBAX, and there's another one that's a short-term municipal bond fund that doesn't charge a sales charge.
Investable short-term municipal is ORS.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, that's the one that I use.
That's the one I put that client.
Yeah.
There's no sales charge. It has a 3.23 yield, and it's tax-free. So it's a good way for you to make it cost a little bit of money, a little bit more than the money market, tax-free interest, and then you do get paid the trail. And then once I determined if the client paid his taxes and he had, I think, $200,000 left over, I just clicked that, send that money over to somewhere else. But once you know, when the market ran up last fall, and everyone's making money, that's when they called me on the blue and said they want to invest the money, take the money out of CDs, invest it. So I moved it in there. Well, right after that, the market went back down. Okay, so he was all worried that the market was down over the last couple of weeks, and he wanted to take all the money out. I said, if you do that, I said, he was going to take out $50,000. I said, if you do that, you need to find a different advisor.
Oh, you told him that?
I did. Good. His wife, actually. Good. I said, I'm not your guy. And take all the rest of the money with you. Okay? And because I guess I'm at this point where I'm not putting up with it. Because if I have to freaking babysit them every time the market goes down 10%, it happens every year. The last 2 years, 2024, the market was down 20% at one point, and it happened 2023 too. So there's always going to be a pullback period somewhere in the year. Okay? And you got to be able to handle it. And I said, just leave it alone. And so she called me yesterday. She said, well, you really make me mad when you talk the way you talk to me. I said, I don't care if here's the deal. I don't want you to be, I don't care if you like me or don't like me. I want you to respect me. Okay, if you have a couple $1 million in your investment account and you don't like me, that's your choice. Okay, but my job is to do the best thing I can for you, and I'm going to do that if you let me do your job. If you let me do my job for God. He said, she changed her mind. She said, okay. Me and my husband want to sit down with you again, make sure we understand. Let me do my job. And I did it to another agent. I had another client that invested $600,000 with me. He'd taken, and he invested for his kids. He put $100,000 in each one of his kids' accounts. And right after he did, I put in VADAX. And right after we did that, then $100,000 each, and then we're down to like 92. And he called me up one day, and he gave me that exact thing. I said, leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Yeah, in that tone?
Just like that. Leave it alone. Well, I mean, I start off nicer. I didn't start off with that. But they started going, and I said, leave it alone. If you leave it alone, I promise you know what's worth what right now? 176. He called me. He said, man, thank you. I'm glad I left it alone because it's worth a lot more money now than I thought it would be worth. I said, I know. Because people that are not used to investing, people that are savers, they put money in CDs and savings accounts and things like that. They don't know. The reason they do that is they don't have in their heads. They do that because they know they can't lose money. Okay. The lady that called me yesterday, I really mad. I said, here's the deal. I said, if you take this money in this account, you will retire broke. You will retire broke. You will not have no money to retire. If you're not making 8 to 10% a year, you're not going to have enough money. You got to take emotion completely out of it. Okay? It's all money. And you got to make 8 to 10% a year. And I promise you leave it where it is, it's going to do that. It's like that couple I just told you about that their policy came for end of term. They listened to me. And now they're 60 and 55, 54.
But deep down inside, we all got to be a caring person because you couldn't do this business if you didn't care.
No. And I tell them, I said, you know why I'm in this business? Because my whole family's poor. I said, I got to help people learn how not to be poor. And what happens is when you're used to being poor, you continue to make the same decisions to keep yourself poor.
But that shows
The low.
intra-year declines, year by year.
Yeah.
For the
So you
last, what, 25 years?
Yeah, so you can see, look at this. So
Explain it. What is?
this is 2023.
Mm-hmm.
It was down at 19% at one point.
Yep.
But it ended up being up 24% for the year.
Okay.
Is that right? Is that what I'm reading?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
I'm sorry. The red is a negative.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was down 10% for the year, but it ended up being up 23%.
Well, the red is the lowest drop in the year, dropped 10% one day, but it ended up 24%.
So the 3 years before that, it never went down?
No, the 3 years before that,
It was down.
yeah, the
See,
3
it was down 5, down 7, down
Okay.
3, down 11, down 12.
down 34% in
So the only year it didn't recover right
1920
there.
and ended up 16%, 16% overall.
Can't go anywhere else. Schwab and all these other guys put your money there. You're never going to get him on the phone. You think you'll have the cell phone number of the guy that's handling your finances?
Yeah, they need you more than you need them.
Right. So this is a good little thing
Yeah.
on how the market can fluctuate dramatically. Look at this here. Where does it show the year? It doesn't show the year.
It just shows every 5 years.
But somewhere at 87. Oh, I knew this.
Mhm.
Okay, 87. The market was down 34%, but still finished up 2% for the year. So here's what it says: S&P 500. Despite average intra-year drops of 14.2%, annual returns were positive 33 of 44 years. John Maxwell. You need to read any of his stuff. John Maxwell. Great leadership stuff. I used to listen to all his CDs continually.
Mm-hmm.
He listened to his stuff.
He's very old. Oh, he's great.
And he lives here in Georgia. He's a program. He does leadership trainings. I'd love to go to one of his leadership trainings.
You have a website, they may list when the
John, so in his book, he has a book about attitudes. Attitudes, really good. One of the things he talks about, he'd go do a leadership meeting for a church or something, and he'd say, let's say there's 3,000 people in the room, 500 be listening to every. He said 500 be paid to listen to every word I said. 2,500 wondered where the coffee.
That's not right.
And he said that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
He said the ones that are come to you, that's the ones you're going to turn into leaders. The ones that wonder where the coffee is, that's great. They're not going to be the leaders. And he's the one that had no patience for counseling.
Yeah.
Just get over it. If you have the opportunity to get the Maximum Impact series, leadership series from John and Maxwell, you should do it.
A copy of the J.P. Morgan, guide to retirement.
Okay.
Their new, they publish the guide to retirement annually. They publish this thing, the marketing insights, whatever, every quarter.
Okay.
And so it'll come out on April 1st.
Okay.
And I'll download it and email it to you. On April 2nd, they're going to have a webinar.
And they're going to say, full, we really did say it.
They'll have a webinar guiding you through this thing, showing you some of the highlights. Well, what they do, all this stuff is on their website. Each slide, they'll pick a bunch to put in the guide, but they also have one called OTB off the books, the ones that are on the website but didn't make it into the guide.
Oh.
So they've got amazing, brilliant stuff.
Go back onto the Morningstar report, and let's see how. Well, actually, let's do AEIIX. It's the Invesco International Equity. Anyway, well, there's a European growth fund, isn't there? Invesco European growth. International Invesco European AEDAX is international is doing well right now. Let's look at OPGSX for the gold fund. It's up 27.15% for the year. I think with this AI thing, there's going to be a huge demand for copper and silver. I think silver has the opportunity to go way higher because they use silver for components, for $35 an ounce. I think it has the opportunity to go way higher.
Yeah, what about the energy fund? You think it's like right at 80% for the year?
I'm concerned. I don't think oil's going to go up. I don't think oil's going to go up. Because when Trump was in office last time, oil traded between $40 and $60 a barrel. So I don't think it's going to do well. But I didn't know the market went down 700 points. Anyway, it was in the 30s. It's in the 30s, and I think it could go to 50, which would be the highest silver's ever been. Was $53 an ounce in 1980. $53 an ounce in 1980. You know why? You're from Texas. Why did silver go to 50? Okay, 1980, the Hunt brothers of Texas decided they were going to corner the silver market. They ran silver from $3 an ounce to $52 or $53 an ounce.
Oh, wow.
In just course of just a minute, 1979, I think, 1979, 1980, right in there. And so, but I think we could see silver go higher than the all-time high, which was $53 an ounce. So if you have enough, I think it would not be a bad idea to have at least 5% of your clients' money in the OPGSX, for the next 5 years. Commodity futures trade different than equity futures, for example.
Okay.
So you can control vast amounts of commodities for a very small amount of money.
Okay.
You can buy, I can't remember exactly how it is, but you can buy $10,000 worth of, or $1 million worth of, or let's say $100,000 worth of silver with $10,000 investment. Okay, buying futures. That's the good news. The bad news is, if you go in that movie, how those two brothers lost all their money, is because when it started going negative, and they were buying, so what they were doing in that movie, they were buying the futures as it was going at the very top. Okay, they were running up, and then when that Warren Future report came on TV and saw that they weren't doing well, so they had already run it up as high as it would go, made all kinds of money going up.
Yeah.
And then once they saw the old orange juice futures where it did not do well, they started selling the puts on the commodity futures going down. So they were making money. So the top price was like, say, 105.
Okay.
And at the end, it ended up being at $5.
Yeah.
They made the difference of 105 and $5, $100 per contract.
Gotcha.
Which controlled tens of thousands of dollars of money in orange juice. And so, There's a guy named Stan Druckenmiller, who unfortunately is associated with some not so good guys. But anyway, he made $1 billion in one day doing that.
Oh my goodness.
He's a billionaire. You can do it.
Your Invesco International.
What's the ticker symbol on it?
AIIEX.
I know. So it's up 4.5%.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. 4.64 for the year.
So, and it invests mainly in international funds, and for the last
There's your holdings.
90% of it is in Taiwan Semi. Okay, Taiwan Semi is the #1 producer of semiconductors. All their chips go into NVIDIA stuff.
Yep.
So they're huge. They're huge. They control most of semiconductor manufacturing in the world. I've been staying away from international for the last several years because Europe really has not done well.
Mm-hmm.
But because of all the turmoil in the United States stock market right now,
Yeah.
it's doing well.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to go away. I think the stock market in the United States will run up really well by the end of the year.